of Mother's Day, which is in the US, is going to be May 12th. I wanted to show you guys what you can add to your journal or perhaps do a standalone card. Welcome, it's Winnie from Bella Sunshine. The kit that I'm going to be using is a collaboration by June and Chastity, and it's called A Mother's Love. There are 22 pages and there are 5 pages full of photos that you can choose from. I only printed out the ones that I'm going to be using, like something like this. And I have these photos that I am thinking of using. Now with these images here, I wanted to do something that was orange to kind of bring out the orange on my photos. So I went ahead and changed the color. So like this one is the same thing as this one. So I just changed the orange to go with my photos. Here's what I'm thinking of making. This is my prototype. Excuse it. I just use magazines and stuff like that to kind of do the prototype to work out the kinks. So it looks like a tag, but when you open it, it's going to open to this. It's going to have like 4 panels, and that's where I'm going to be putting the pictures. Of course, you don't need to make it into a tag. You can make it into just a regular rectangle or even a square. You know, use your imagination. You can do whatever you want, but this will fit nicely in my journal. So let's go ahead and make the base. As you can see, there are 3 parts into our project. The first thing we need to do is decide on the size of the picture you want to use. So with mine, my size is 3.5 by 3. Of course, you can go bigger or smaller, but it's really going to depend on what material you're going to be using as your base. So for me, I'm thinking I want to use my manila folder because it's thinner than a cardstock and it's already folded in half, so it's going to be perfect. And if I add a decoration on the front and on the back, it's going to give me that extra strength already. So I think it's going to be the perfect material to use. So if you were using the same thing with the manila folder, as you can see, with this one, we got plenty of room, right? You can make your picture bigger if you want to. So let me show you guys what I did. So with this one, it looks like I can make, the biggest picture I can do is 4.5 by 4. I got a little bit of room, which is fine if you're okay with that. Otherwise, you need to make this smaller. I mean, so 4.5 by 4 is the smallest, or I'm sorry, not the smallest, the biggest that you can do if you're using a manila folder. Ideally for this base, you need something that is going to be 1 sheet, and I need something that's going to be 12 inches is the height. I actually have an atlas and a copy paper that I can use as my base. Now, if you don't have one, like big ones like I do, here's what you need to do to make it work. Get the material that you're going to be using and cut them into the width that you need it for. So for mine, it's going to be 3.5, and you need 2 of them. And what you need to do on the second one, you need to go ahead and cut one to 6, because my size is 3 by 6.5. So I need to cut it by 6 because my height is going to be 3 inches. So with the 6, you just need to go ahead and fold this in half. And now you have 2 panels right here. So now to make your second one, what you would need to do is you can measure the 6. Well, actually you have to do the 3 and then another 3. So let's say, let me get my scoreboard, and I need to go ahead and score it at 3. So I'm doing 3. And then I'm going to score it at 6. And because I have a longer one, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this to 7.5, just to give me a little lip. So if I had to fold these, so here's your 2 pieces. So with this one, use your bone folder to really have that crease, and then try to go like the opposite to fold them also on the opposite. That makes it more flexible. So with this one, you just need to go ahead and connect it like this. And just using glue. Now for these shiny magazine, the reason why I said to not use them also, sometimes the glue does not stay on these shiny magazine thing. That's why they're kind of not good to use. But here's your panel. Like this. Now if you have the one sheet, so let's say this is my one sheet, all you would have to do is fold this in half, and then you fold this in half the opposite direction, and then you would do the same thing on the other side, like this. And since I'm using a copy paper, what I would do now is I'm gonna go ahead and ink around it so I don't have that whiteness into my project. So here's my panel, inked on both sides. Now let me show you guys on how to decorate this, because it's a little bit different. So with this one, it's gonna be folded like this. So on the inside, it's supposed to flip this way, which means you have to decorate this in a landscape. So you might want to decorate one first. So I'm gonna use this one, and then I'm putting this in here. Then you'll know how to decorate the whole thing here. So let me go ahead and glue these together. So here it is, nicely glued. I use my 3-in-1 glue because I need to make sure I can move my picture so I can line it up where it's folding. It's not going to hinder it from folding. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and decorating the back. So with this paper, when it opens, it's going to open this way, but when it's closed, it's going to be like this. So which means the orientation of your picture is got to go portrait like this. It doesn't really matter. You're really not going to see it unless you're kind of peeking through the card. See how I can see that? And then the same thing on the other side. You can just kind of see that. So if that doesn't bother you, it does not matter what orientation your picture is or your wording is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and ink and glue these book pages on the back. So here it is, all glued. Now you don't need to ink the middle because we're really not going to see it. I'm going to go ahead and decorate the rest of this off camera, but let's go ahead and let me show you how to do the second part to this, which I'm going to call it the mechanic. So with this one, let me see if I can explain this. Whatever the panel size that you have, whatever the smallest size is, so mine is 3 by 3.5, so the smallest size is 3. It has to be the width of your mechanic here, like this. So if you have a 4 by 4.5, then your mechanic has got to be at 4. So this is what the inside looks like. Okay, I'm having a hard time explaining this. So I hope I make sense, but this is more than half. It's going more than half of my panel. If you have it smaller like this, then you're not going to have that extra strength to hold on to your panel. So the chances of maybe breaking might be more than if you have it a little bit longer. So you can actually make it, longer if you want to, but I don't think that's necessary. I think as long as you are halfway to your panel, I think you're good. Now, as far as for, sorry, Moon is getting in the shot here. As far as for the width of our mechanic, you don't want to make it smaller. The reason is if you make it smaller, you know, let's say you do a halfway or whatever here. Let's see. Let's say you wanted to do halfway, like a, you know, it's going to be too skinny to hold on to this big panel. So keep it the same size as your smallest one. So for the mechanic, I am just going to use a regular copy paper. This is what I have. I went ahead and just folded it in half, glued it together to give me that extra strength. I did try to do a cardstock, but I don't like it because it's a little stiff. And I think it's not too thick. I just think it might be too stiff for my card. So I don't want to use that. I'm just using regular copy paper. You can also do a book page if you want. So with this one, I have it measured at 3 inches. There's Moon again. And the length that I have, because it's a copy paper, I just kept the length. But if you were curious as to what you need to do, my panel was 12 inches was the length. So I just subtracted 1.5 inches. So whatever size you're doing, just subtract 1.5 inches to make your mechanic. So what we need to do for the mechanic is we're going to go ahead and fold this in half. Okay, so once you have this in half, what you need to do is go ahead and find the middle of your mechanic. So mine is going to be at the 5.5, no, I'm sorry, 5.25, because my length is 10.5. So my middle is going to be at 5.25. Then you want to go ahead and draw the line. And once you have that, you want to measure, find your middle. So let's say it's right up 5, right? So you just need to go ahead and line it up to a 5. That way, the width that we're looking for is going to be the width of your mechanic. So mine is 3, so which means from the middle, I need to measure to 1.5 to the right and then 1.5 to the left. And as you can see, I have some marking here. So if we were to measure this and this, we are looking at 3. So it's the same size as the width of our mechanic. Once you have that line, what you want to do is you're going to make, like you want to meet this edge, or actually this edge, like this. So you're twisting it and you just want to line it up to your marking here, like this. And then you want to do the same on the other side here. Let's see, how would I do that? Oh, going up this way. Just line it up. And then when you have it folded, you can see it's going to go like this. Okay. And that's what we have. Now with this one, if you want to ink it, go ahead and ink it. I'm not sure what it's going to look like in our card, so I'm going to go ahead and just ink around it. So here's my mechanic. Now, if you have one that has a decoration like this, what you want to do is test it out to see how you would put it together. So if you put it this way, as you can see, that's going to be upside down, and then over here it does not matter. So if you turn it around, you put it this way, now you got some butterflies that's going in the right direction. So what you want to do with this one is when it opens, it's going to open, just kind of hold on to your paper like this. So your mechanic becomes this way. And your panel goes this way, which means, remember that line that we have here? We're going to need to go ahead and line this up like this. And just try to center it. So here's the way to figure out where to put the glue. I'm going to use a washi tape. We're going to go ahead and line up our middle to half of our panel like this. Unfold it like this. And then what you want to do is fold it, and you have that one panel, and you want to go ahead and draw the line right here. So when you take it off, then you know you are going to put glue right on here. No glue here, do not put glue there, just on the top part. That's where you're putting the glue. And then you just do the same thing on the other end. And this one, you're going to do the bottom. So I'm marking. So if we have our mechanic here, glue and glue. That's where you would glue. You just put glue there. But like I said, make sure you finish decorating, because it's going to be a lot easier to work with than decorating it when they're all together. So let's go ahead and move to the last part. So the last part is going to be the card itself, which mine is going to be the shape of a tag. So whatever shape you're using is what you're going to be doing. So this is the inside of our card, and you want to know how big you want your tag to be. So with this one, we know the height of this is going to be 3.5, because our panel is 3 by 3.5. And the width on this one is approximately 6 inches. So you take your manila folder, you can kind of decide, you know, do I want 2 inches on each side? How big do I want it? I think my size, which is, it's 4.5 by 7. So it's, let's see, 4.5 by 7. Okay. So as you can see, I have plenty of room over here. You could make it longer if you want, but I think this is a pretty good size. So you just need to go ahead and cut the piece. So here's my tag base. I went ahead and inked the inside and the outside. That's all you need to do for inking right now. So now what you want to do is decorate your base. Well, not really fully decorate it, but cover up your base. So all I'm going to be using is this, and I'm just going to be putting it right here. So the same thing with these. I'm going to go ahead and just ink where I'm gluing it to the middle here. Because once it's glue, we're not going to be able to ink this middle part. So once you have that ready, then you just need to go ahead and do your first one. Now make sure that you are not you know, you're not overlapping. You just want to go right at the very, like there's a little bit of a space, but not much. So you just want to go ahead and glue. Again, use your 3-in-1 glue or glue that will help you reposition things if you need to. So to make things easier for me, I'm gonna go ahead and line this up here and do my little weight, and I'll just put glue. I hope y'all can see what I'm doing because Moon is taking over my desk. And I'm just gonna put glue right here for now because that's the important part. And then let's go ahead and close it, making sure it's not in the way. So that's where it's sitting. Okay, so now you want to go ahead and put glue on the rest of the base. So here it is. I'm just waiting for it to dry before I cut it. Then on the other side, if you have something, you know, like if you want this thing to line up, just go ahead and line it up and then glue it. So here's the inside of my card. And I went ahead and did the front and the back. And as you can see, I haven't really embellished it yet. I just have the base. So now what you want to do is, if you are going to do something else inside the card, you want to know how this is going to fall into. Remember, this is going to be like right here, and your middle piece is going to be right here. So this is kind of like, because when you open the card, you're going to see this side here. So if you were going to put something else, what you want to do is, let's go ahead and put our second part together, since we have it labeled where you're going to glue it. So what we're going to need to do on this one is, on your base card, minus the tag, you want to go ahead and find the middle of your card. So mine is at 4, what is it, 4.5. So my middle is going to be at 2 1/4. So I just need to put a mark. Couldn't find my red pen, but can you see the black dot right there? So that is the middle of my card. That's what you want to do. So once you have the middle, position your mechanic. So the tip of your mechanic right here need to match up to that dot that you have in the middle. So with this one, and then you want to close your card like this, and then just try to open it without moving your inside. And what you're going to do is, you are going to put glue just on this triangle base. So you would have it like this, put glue close up. So this is what you would want to see. You don't want to see a gap. You guys see that? See the dot? And see where my pointy is? And I can still close my card. So you don't want a gap, because when you have this glue to the other side, you want your card to be able to sit flat. And see, I kind of messed up on mine. If you guys can see that, I had to take it apart because I had a gap, and that's where I messed up right there. So for me to cover that, what I can do is just make a pocket here. I somehow deleted the last footage showing you on how I glued this. Basically, the thing that you want to remember, like I said, is that when you glued the first time, your mechanic point to your center point is to not have any gap. If you don't have a gap, you're not going to have that problem. The other side, gluing the other side is going to be very simple. You're just going to put glue on the triangle, close up your card, press it down, and then open it back up just to make sure your card stays flat like this. And that's basically it. So with this one, as you can see, to hide that mistake that I have, I went ahead and put a doily. I'm probably gonna put another one on the other side. If you guys are ready to glue, we already have our glue mark here. Remember, you're gluing on the opposite. All you would need to do is get your panel, and this is gonna be where it's important that your panel can open or can fold this way and that way easily. So kind of like flexible, because on this one, you would fold this in half like this, line it up to your center line. And once you have that, you're gonna go ahead and put the glue here on the top, open your panel and press it down. And then you would do the same thing on the other side. You would put glue down here and then open your panel and then press it down and glue, and let that dry for a little bit before you close it up. And when to close it up, just make sure you lift the centerpiece to go like this, and that is it. So I am gonna go ahead and decorate. Well, what I'm gonna do with this one is see how it kind of opens. I'm gonna put something heavy, and that would help to flatten it out. So I'm gonna put something on top of it to protect it, and then I'm just putting my heavy iron on there. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and decorate these pieces, get it all glued and done, and I can show you guys the result of the tags. So here's my tag. I didn't do much as far as for decoration. I just added a sticker. I didn't do anything on the back. I didn't want to add any more bulk. As you can see, it's pretty bulky already, and I'm adding this to my planner. So when we go ahead and untie the lace, it's going to look like this. Here are the pictures. And as you can see, I made these into a pocket. So if you are going to give this to your mom, you can just do, you know, your message, Happy Mother's Day, add a couple more photos if you wanted to, or maybe add another couple of notes. But this was so much fun to make that I decided to go ahead and make another one. Before I show you my second one, I wanted to show you guys this picture. This picture is by Chastity. It's called The Background Pages, and this is in our group in our Facebook group album. And I use 2 of the background there, but she's got a lot of background that you guys can choose from. And then the second photo that I'm about to show you right here, it is by June, and it's called the Antique Ledger. I think I got this in our old coffee account. I haven't been able to locate it, but once I do, I will show you guys, or I will share the link with you guys in our Facebook group. So here's my second tag. As you can see, I just made it plain. And the way I decorated the inside is inspired by Tracy Fox. And this is what it looks like. Let me give you guys a close-up. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, there is a plastic film in there. Some of them I glued. This one I used a stapler to staple it. And then this one was a packaging tape. And as you can see, I used June's background here, and then the other one here is Chastity, and I did the same thing on the fourth picture. So let me show you guys what it would look like if you put it in your planner. I mean, not planner, but your journal. I'm putting mine in my planner. So when you put this in, let's find a pocket. I wanted to show you guys what it looks like as far as for the bulkness. You know what, this may not be a good way to, so here it is, like this, and then on the top. So it does create a lot of bulkness. This is probably not a good way to, putting it in this as a pocket. I think we need something like, let's see if I have one here. I think I have it here. Like something more like this, because it will hold it in place. And then the bulkness is still there, but it's contained, I guess. I don't know if I'm making any sense. But that's what it looks like. As you can see on this, this is more of a vintage style card, and then this other one is more of a modern, colorful type style. This was a lot of fun to make. If I were going to make another one, well, I think I will make another one, but I'm gonna use my personal family photos in here and add it to a journal. It's a great way to use up all your photos. I hope my instruction was clear enough. If you guys have any question, please leave a comment below. I hope this gives you guys inspiration. Give this a try. It is so much fun. Have fun with it. I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. Thank you so much. Until next time, happy crafting.